If you've got an Amiga A600, A1200, you will be familiar with these. However, these are now a thing of the past. You will not be using these again after you've watched this video. Please watch it to the end, because I'm going to give you all the information that you need. And I'm going to give you a little disclaimer right now. If your computer blows up, it is not my fault, right? It works on mine and it's fine, alright? And it's quite a simple thing. What you're going to need, first of all, is you're going to need one of these, which you would have had with this. So you don't, if you've got one of these, you won't need to buy one of these, because you should have one. Now this is connected to this. So you've got, this is an IDE to SATA connector, right? I have put that heatsink on there because this chip happens to get warm. Not massively, but enough. Okay, so those heat sinks are Raspberry Pi heat sinks, and I'm going to just demonstrate that to you in a moment. The other thing, so what you need to do once you've connected this, now make sure this red here always goes to pin 1. Electrically it doesn't matter, you could put it the other way up, but you could end up running into all sorts of problems. So identify pin 1 on this first. You'll see that it actually is next to the chip on this. So you would put your pin 1 just there. Now if you're not happy with the cable, if you want the cable to sit the other way up, because this will just sit that way on, if you want it to sit the other way up and sort of move the drive further back into your computer, further to the left wall of the computer, and raise it up a little bit, you can turn this upside down and it will still work. Okay, so that's fine. Right, so I'm just going to put that on there to demonstrate. So now we would curl under and connect to the computer, which pulls this back, which gives you a bit more space to the right. Not that there's much going on in the computer at that end anyway, but you know, just depends on your aesthetics, how you want that to sit. The next thing you'll need is one of these. So you need a SATA 3 to M2 SSD adapter. We're not going to use a standard SATA drive, even though it will plug straight onto there. You're going to end up drawing a hell of a lot of current out your computer, and it isn't going to run quite as nicely. So you use one of these adapters, and that goes here, and then you get your M2 SSD. Now do not buy this one, because this is a Kingston, and Kingstons, I have now found, do not work. I'm just going to use this for demonstration purposes only. You will need to heatsink this as well, so you can buy these packs of heatsinks, and you've got a film at the bottom there. You can just basically peel that off, and that goes on there. And then for extra support, you've got these bands here, and they sit on top there. I'm going to show you. I'm going to put it all together because I want you to see exactly how it's going to look once it's in your computer. So that goes in there, clicks in there. You'll need a screwdriver, small screwdriver, just to get this screw up. And that is how it's going to look. Or you could have one of the alternative ones, which are, mine is green. I'm not guaranteeing that they're going to be the same colour, but you could have, there is this one as well. Now you might notice already you've got your SATA connector here, and you've got your M2 SSD connector here. On this one you've got your SATA connector here, and you've got your M2 SSD connector at the opposite end, which makes the drive sit upside down. Now, sorry, that's the wrong way around. That one sits upside down, right? Because that is, so that's how that sits. Now in my A1200 I have a Caddy. So I have put some standoffs on mine and I have basically bolted it onto the original drive caddy that came with the A1200. If you got it second hand and it didn't have a hard drive, the chances are you haven't got one of these, so you can probably pick one up second hand. Maybe someone's 3D printing them, who knows? Maybe you could 3D print your own, maybe you could sell them, maybe you start a business, I don't know. Anyway, that's just an idea. I used my original one, drilled a couple of holes in it and put the drive on top. Now it doesn't, I've got quite a thick heatsink on mine. It's a lot thicker than the heatsink that you get with these ones. So anyway, so that's that. So that will work being in the upside down position, and it does work fine. Okay. If you want to use your PC or Mac to put the data on, you can just get these SATA to USB. This is a USB-C. You can get USB 3 and all the rest of it. But yeah, you just get one of these SATA cables, plug it into your computer, and then you can do all your formatting. Now there's loads of videos showing you how to format these. It's exactly the same, you just got a hell of a lot more memory to play with. I did my last drive, I did I think I put about 2 gigs in for the operating system, for the workbench, and I put in the rest of it as storage. I didn't do like several different partitions, I did one just to see, it was an experiment, and it came back with a message and it said, after it's finished formatting, it said it's in experimental stage, it's unstable if you go over 102 gigs. So I wouldn't recommend going over 102 gigs because it's in still experimental stage, but however it still works in my A600, so that's all fine. So basically just program this up. If you want to put a couple of partitions on my 1200, I've split the main body of the drive. I've got like 1 gig for the operating system. You actually just need like, I think about 200 megs or something like that. You don't need a lot for workbench, but it's always good to have a bit of headroom in there because, you know, the more you've got to play with the better. Yeah, I don't even think it's 200 megs. Actually it's minuscule, but like I say, you've got plenty to play with. Stick a couple of gigs on there, a gig, 2 gigs, somewhere around that sort of region. Use that for your workbench install and you have no problems whatsoever. And the other partition, I would just split that into 2. Have like one for your games and utilities, another one for storage. So I have one games and utilities, the other one storage, the other one workbench, and that's how I would set them up on WinUAE. And that's it, it's as simple as that, and there you go, that's 120 gigs in your Amiga for very little money. Like I say, this was 15 for the drive. You can get them on eBay. There's loads of reconditioned ones because people are upgrading their drive. 128 gig on a PC is nothing, so people don't really want them, so you can pick them up and you might find bargains on there. But go for a SanDisk, absolutely go for a SanDisk. Like I said, I tried Kingston, doesn't work. Could just be me, but why risk it, you know? Why go and spend money on something that is a risk? I don't know of any other drives, I haven't tested any other drives. Samsung might be okay. I'll leave that all up to you. If you do have any luck, if you do have an old drive kicking about, an old M.2 drive kicking about, and you happen to have success with a Samsung drive, for example, or a Western Digital or whatever, or even just a no brand, you know, one of these ones from Aliexpress that's, you know, a nothing brand, it's like branded with something but you've never heard of it before. If you have success with any of those, leave it in the comments and let us know, because it'd be nice to sort of build up a little database to see what actual drives are working. But yeah, these are a thing of the past. You won't need it again, and I'll tell you something, this thing goes like a rocket. When I open my files up, normally when I've got my SSD, my CF card, if I open like a folder with the games in, and I've got the alphabet of files, it's like click, 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 click. With this, it's like done. It absolutely rattles through it. Also, use PFS3. There's a few tutorials, they're not very clear. One thing with PFS3, all you need to do is, it seems that every tutorial points it to the same place. Now what you need to do is go into your, you need to unpack your PFS3 LHA file, put it into your folder. Once it's in your folder, you'll have one of the files that says PFS3 AIO hyphen handler or hyphen custom. Now the ones that are in the tutorials always say handler. That's old. I've not seen those recently, so it must be on an old version of PFS3. So the current version of PFS3 uses the file name is PFS3 AIO hyphen custom. So you'll find that in the folder. You just copy that. You basically, all you're doing is you're pointing that folder to the place on your drive where it is. So that about wraps it up. You've got your drive, one for your workbench, very small partition, and then two larger partitions with your games and another one for storage. That's about it. Make sure they're all PFS3. Make sure you've electrically shielded them from any components inside your computer, and you've put heat sinks on where possible. And that's about it. That wraps it up. In a future video I'm going to be doing other retro gear. It could be computing, it could be electronic stuff. I've got one planned for micron to analog multimeters, which I've pretty much got every single one in the range that was available in the 80s. That one would be quite interesting actually. There's some that, even if you're not electronics mad or anything like that, or even if you dabbled sort of in the 80s, you'd be like, oh yeah, I had a micron, so because they were cheap multimeters, so you know, all the hobbyists had them. Anyway, so that's it. So thanks ever so much for watching. Like and subscribe, all the usual stuff. You know, I don't really need to say that. If you like the video, you're going to subscribe anyway. If you don't like it, you're going to go bye. Anyway, that's it. So thanks for watching. Bye for now.